Kishimoto and Ikimoto have just laid the groundwork for this new upcoming arc. With the Village of the Sand now getting involved in the Shinju dilemma, they have found themselves in a state of emergency and are now asking the Leaf for help, as Kankuro has officially asked Shikamaru to send some people to the Village of the Sand, meaning that we are finally leaving the Leaf Village. And this was the main reason why I wanted the Shinju to appear next to be Shinki. There were various theories like Kakashi or Naruto, but I wanted it to be Shinki simply due to the fact that it would mean that we would be leaving the Leaf Village and now having an expansion of the world building in Boruto. As Boruto as a series, you know I love Boruto, but one of my biggest problems with the series is the fact that it seems to lack world building. And it's not world building in the sense that we don't go to various different locations, but it's world building in the sense that everything seems to be Leaf centric. Everything is happening around the Leaf Village, and it seems like the other villages have been forgotten. But in Boruto TBV Vortex, not only are we starting to see characters like Ibiki, the two elders, but the lore has started to increase, as this is the first time that we will be seeing the Village of the Sand in the Boruto series. And we are just 13 chapters in to Boruto TBV Vortex, but we can already see such a big shift from Boruto Part 1 to Boruto TBV Vortex, and this is something that I am quite happy to see, as the next arc will have to deal with the Leaf Village. I don't know how long these guys are going to be in the Leaf Village, however, this arc is going to be one that is quite similar to an arc that we got in Naruto. And the setup is quite interesting because it is basically the same. We had in Naruto who came back to the village, he had to fight versus Kakashi, just like with the bell test that they had in the past. Obviously, things were a lot less tense, however, out of nowhere, we heard that the Sand Village was in a dilemma, and it had to deal with Gaara. And in this situation right now, you have a Boruto who comes back to the Leaf Village. Obviously, things are a lot more tense and we have to deal with the Shinju. But yet again, the Sand Village is requesting help from the Leaf. And it also has to deal with Gaara, who has been injured in battle. And this is something that happens. Every new time skip, we got Gaara that's in some sort of an issue. It's repetitive at this point, and I love to see it, to be personally honest. But the question that we must ask ourselves now is who will be the team that will be sent to the Sand Village, because this team is the team that will allow us to see and learn more about the Sand Village. As in this new era, we saw a lot of improvement when it comes to technology. We have seen various different things change in the Leaf Village. Now in the manga specifically, we haven't seen the Village of the Sand, so maybe just like the Leaf Village, we could end up seeing some technological advancements that the Sand Village has also had compared to the Leaf, and that would be something quite interesting to see. However, when discussing who exactly will be going, my first thoughts is that Sarada will be the first one to be one of those candidates. Sarada is somebody who we heard in the first chapter is waiting for her next mission and has been placed on standby. Sarada is somebody who wants to become the Hokage, and for her to become the Hokage, it's clear that she has to be involved in these sorts of political moments where they sent their best shinobis to go out to various villages. Just like what we saw with Naruto, and we have seen with other people who ended up being the Hokage. One thing that has been made quite clear is the fact that the other Hokages are quite aware of their existence. Like people like Kakashi, who ends up becoming the Hokage. His name was recognized by people all over the world. We had the Raikage who even knew who Kakashi was. And this is something that we also see with Naruto after the war arc. And this is the opportunity for Sarada, who wants to become the Hokage, to stamp her will and to actually go out there and do something. We could see Sarada get multiple feats, get multiple interesting moments in the series just by her going to the Sand Village, and especially with Boruto not being involved because he's not in Team 7 anymore due to everything that happened. It will mean that she will be a focus point when it comes to this new arc. The next person, since we're talking about Team 7, that has to go would be Mitsuki. Mitsuki is part of Team 7, but I am quite interested to see the dynamic between Mitsuki and Sarada, especially in the time skip. When it comes to the time skip, it is quite clear that Sarada and Sumire are best of buddies, especially with everything that has happened with Omnipotence. With a Mitsuki who in the past doesn't agree with the fact that Boruto is who he says he is, and he sees Boruto as Kawaki, it is quite clear that Mitsuki and Sarada were not getting along. Thus, I believe that Mitsuki, now in this arc, we could see some sort of a tag team collaboration where Sarada and Mitsuki end up joining together and both agreeing that Boruto is who he says he is. However, there are reasons why Mitsuki might not be able to leave the village due to the fact that his mission seems to be to guard Ada, Damien, and Kawaki, so it may be a fact where he doesn't actually end up going, but that will be something quite interesting. I was thinking that maybe Konoha would end up going too, so we could see Konoha versus Matsuri, but I just don't see this to be the case due to the fact that he is the advisor of Shikamaru, the current Hokage, and I haven't seen the advisor usually leave when it comes to such an urgent mission, especially due to the fact that the Shinju have already left, so they still want to keep a good force in the village just in case anything happens. That's why I believe that Sarada, Mitsuki, and in addition to Sumire, we could have a Sumire end up going to that land. Sumire is somebody who I struggle to see exactly what her role will be. Just like what we see in the fight versus Hidari, she pops into the fight, but to do what? Maybe this upcoming arc will show us Sumire's role in the series and what exactly her purpose is going to be, since it appears like she is not a ninja. However, the most important character to discuss will be Kawaki. Is Kawaki going to leave to go to the Sand Village? And the main reason I have questions on this is due to Kawaki's stance on shinobis, especially with everything that happened. Is Kawaki still a shinobi operating with the leaf and doing as told? This is something that could be quite confusing because with Kawaki's goals and with Kawaki's current stance on shinobis, he wouldn't want to be a shinobi if he claims that shinobis are just the people that end up dying first. And shinobis seem to be a direct contrast to what Kawaki believes. However, due to omnipotence, Kawaki has been playing the role of Boruto in the Leaf Village. And Boruto would definitely end up going to the land of sand to protect them. So I do believe there are reasons for us to believe that Kawaki would also have to end up going. And that would be extremely interesting because Kawaki's views on shinobi come from a perspective that is simply based off the leaf. Kawaki hasn't lived in a shinobi-like system for quite some time. So Kawaki potentially going to the Sand Village would expose him more to shinobis and he would start to get a better understanding of shinobis and thus pick a stance. However, with them going to the Land of Sand, if there is an arc, there is obviously going to be some sort of antagonist and people who are going to be going against the leaf people who have been sent to the sand. And those guys are obviously going to be the Shinju. And in specific, I do believe that at least 2 Shinju members, or maybe just one, will end up going to the Land of Sand. When it came to the Leaf Village, Jura and Hidari were the ones who ended up going, and they both went to go look for their targets, while Matsuri and Bug focused on something else. But in this case, I would see the opposite take place. Personally, I would believe that it would be the opposite, where Jura and Hidari end up staying while other members end up going, so we could actually see other people in action, cause the only Shinjus we have really seen do much have been Hidari and Jura. So for the people who are going to the Land of Sand, I do believe that the main Shinju that we will be seeing are those who were not involved in the leaf. This means Bug, this means Matsuri, and this now means Ryu. Ryu, I am 100% confirmed that if the Shinju do land another attack on the Land of Sand, the person to go will be Ryu. Ryu will end up going to the Land of Sand, and I do believe and hope that either Matsuri or Bug end up going alongside Ryu, or maybe even all 3. That would be something that is quite interesting. However, who is his target going to be? That question is quite interesting, and I've seen various different responses. One being Mitsuki, because Mitsuki and Shinki did end up having a fight where Mitsuki basically gave up, so in Shinki's mind, he may have harbored some sort of emotions towards Mitsuki and a desire to fight against him one more time. That's what some people propose. Another thing that I've seen is Boruto. Shinki and Boruto are people who had a very interesting relationship, starting with the tuning exams where Boruto defeated him but he cheated. But then Boruto's character growth that Shinki ended up seeing in the anime after they met again for the second time, it is something that Shinki quite admired and realized that he also had to grow. So there are these 2 options that a lot of people are discussing, and they are both Leaf Shinobi related. However, just with what we have seen with these various characters like Hidari, Matsuri, Bug, and Jura, I just don't believe that Mitsuki and Boruto would be Ryu's targets. The person who makes the most sense would be somebody in the Land of Sand, somebody like Gaara. And the main reason I say that is due to the justification that one would have to use to justify why Ryu would be going to Mitsuki or Boruto. The most likely person to end up doing so would have been Hidari, but Hidari chose Sarada, and that makes a lot of sense due to that being his deepest current bond. Sarada was alive, and Sarada is Sasuke's daughter. So when it comes to that, I do believe that Ryu's target will be Gaara due to the connection that Gaara has with Ryu. Shinki literally was adopted by Gaara, and Gaara was one of the first few people that treated Shinki as an authentic human. And due to the similarities in their power, their struggles have been something that has been made quite similar in the series. Thus, I believe that the perfect person for Ryu to target would be Gaara. And if it is Gaara, it would mean that there would be another attack on the Land of Sand while the Leaf Village is there. I don't want everything to have to deal with Leaf Village shinobi. My reasoning for wanting Shinki to be the next Shinju was due to the fact that it would bring more lore. And if I want more lore, I'm not going with Mitsuki or Boruto as an option. And I just don't believe that will be the case. I don't believe that the Shinju are going to be necessarily targeting Otsutsuki's as their target when it comes to information and emotional understanding that Amado has told us that the Shinju are looking for. But now, the most important question to discuss would be, are the other villages now going to be involved in this Shinju dilemma? Are other Shinju going to go to the rest of the villages and now have them involved? This is going to be something that is quite interesting. And if it does continue to spread to the rest of the villages, we have to go back and look at that scene in Boruto Part 1, where we have a Boruto and Kawaki who seem to be the only people alive. I'm not saying that everybody is there, but those are the only people that we see alive. And with the Shinju being able to constantly create new Shinju, it is quite concerning to see exactly where this Shinju dilemma will end up leading the planets. None of the Shinjus have targeted Otsutsuki's, which would explain why Boruto and Kawaki are alive in that time skip scene, because they were not targeted. However, the rest of the world, it is going to be quite interesting to see how they end up surviving. The multitude of Shinjus that could be created, especially with them going to other villages, is going to be something that Boruto simply can't keep up with. Maybe he does use the Shadow Clone Jutsu, but we know he can't use it at a similar level to Naruto. So this is going to be quite interesting. This new arc could really be the downfall of shinobis as a whole. And that's why Kawaki going to that village, going to the village of Sand and figuring out more about the shinobi system, being exposed to other shinobi that are not related to the Leaf, would make a lot of sense when he then comes to say that the age of shinobi is over. Kawaki first has to truly understand shinobis by Ikimoto and Kishimoto placing him around more shinobis that are not only Leaf-centric before that line of the age of shinobi being over truly means something deep. And that's why you have to watch this video right here to understand the final changes that Kawaki will undergo leading to the end of the age of shinobi.